Hey folks, just a little update. I wanted to put something together on about workstations because I don't think I have, and since I've been working on a slab the last bunch of years, rolling workstations have just really changed everything. I have a larger shop now, so everything was kind of in a tidy space before, and now things are expanded onto our second site, and we have a large slab. And putting everything on rolling stations is just becoming the way to go here. And I've just been rounding that out. I finished a chop saw table the other day that has sliding extensions, so you can put your work on, not have to be messing around with shimming up blocks of wood. Has a little post here which catches the line of the work, and that's removable, so I have a smooth top. These are friction fit right here, so they knock off with just a mallet, and then you don't have them sticking above. But I mostly use this as a chop saw station right now, so I'm leaving them on, but they can come off. Can have tools down below. They're lockable casters, which is fine for a chop saw station. When you get into something that's a bit bigger and you got to beat on it more, this is my metal table built about a year and a half ago. That's just been also a serious game changer to have a huge metal, not huge, but big enough metal surface that you can really beat on, that you can mount a heavy duty vise. Has been awesome. And this has been fantastic. I mean, I've always been a fan of putting everything vertically, but to have the stuff that you're grabbing daily up on a vertical surface and magnets has just been awesome. So this takes a little pulling to roll, but I've got, other tools on this side on magnets. Has its own light, so I don't have to crank a whole bunch of wattage to work in here at night. Got scrap metal under there, the welder. Have a dedicated welder station now that I rolled up, that I made up to, so it has the tank and the welder on it, so that can be wheeled on its own. Making a subsoiler here, so I have the waxing, the table that's I use for ski waxing, but it's also lathe, kind of more fine woodwork. Square table here that you can build something pretty large on top of, with heavy duty casters here. You want the beefiest casters you can get. It seems like you got to spend maybe $15-20 a caster to get decent ones. So if you really want to be able to beat on it, I've been experimenting different options for stabilizing, because the caster locks just don't do it on their own, it seems. But this is a very heavy-duty, screw foot, basically. And that's really bomber. You want to separate the nuts a bit, or you'll get some racking. So this was my first version, and I actually am going to grind this off. Saw a bunch of different stuff on YouTube, but the problem is this flexes, right? This between here and here is too much. There's too much flex there, and you don't want this moving at all if you're working on it. If you're hand planing or bending metal, or really reefing on something, you just want it to be very stable. So weight is your friend, but then you need the feet too to lock it in really well. So here's this extension again on this side. This is a repurposed bowling alley here. So just a little update on kind of some of the workflow. It's just amazing that you can still be optimizing everything years in. This is a smaller version, which is, fine. I think I'm gonna cut off that other one that didn't work out, that has too much flex, and put just one more beefy screw on. One thing I learned, by the way, bigger is often better, but not always. This is a 9-inch, I think it's a 15 amp grinder. after running my little grinder just a ton and feeling like I was abusing it, I've had this thing for almost 20 years. Still awesome. I figured, we'll get complement it with a bigger one so I don't kill this tool. So I got a 9-inch, way too big. Lesson learned, I would get a 7-inch. I'd love to trade that for a 7-inch. Now buying a 7-inch doesn't make much sense. I don't need 3 grinders. But a 7 and a 4.5 seems to pair well together. Now, if you're cutting concrete pavers all day with a grinding wheel, maybe the 9-inch is good. But this thing is just a chore. I mean, it's great, but it's like a full wrestling job. It's like way heavier than it needs to be. And you can be more accurate and you're going to pick up this guy way more often because it's just light and nimble. It's pretty hard to get the cuts good with the big one just because it's so big, and if you're holding it at an awkward angle, and that's when you'd use a grinder anyways, is when it's hard to access, because these metal chop saws are pretty awesome. Got this pretty recently. I'm just kind of updating some of my tools. I haven't touched some of my tools in 20 years, and time to do some update. I've also been going way harder on the whole metal situation. So, it's a little update. The bigger of a vise you can get, the better. Find them, old hardware stores. This whole thing slides in and out. So I don't know if you can see. This comes, probably can't do it with one hand. I'm holding my phone with one hand, but this lifts out of the table. Maybe I'll show you. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. See that? So this whole thing just comes right out, and then you have a nice flat work surface. So, and this guy comes out too. So this whole vertical tool storage dizzle comes right out also. So that I just put in there with 2 pieces of angle. Down here you can see it. You see? So that also I can grab it. It's a little awkward, but I can basically grab it here and lift this entire thing out. This comes out first, this whole light situation. So I can pull that out, set it down, pull this out, set it down, take the vise out, this chop saw table 2 pops out, or the metal chop saw. So then I have a just completely 360-degree accessible flat table to work on. These kind of looked at a bunch of different tables on YouTube. Not a great place to... I'm trying to figure out where to store rags. They're a fire hazard, but you need them. So some people have, for fabrication, just lots of openings in their table. I mostly want it solid for just working on a chainsaw, let's say, and parts and bolts are coming off. You don't want them to fall down. It's nice to clamp to. You want a good overhang on all your tables. Any table you make, give yourself 2 to 4 inch overhangs, because you're always clamping constantly to the edges. So I just did I have 3 openings to get clamps inside of. I don't use that much. I'm almost always using this side in here. This is sagged a little. It's a 3/8 inch plate. It was $140, so worth it for a nice big top. It weighs probably 200 pounds. This whole table with everything in it weighs well over 1,000 pounds, which is great. This is sagged, so I'm gonna just strengthen it up with some tube. When I made this more recently, I took care, this is only a 1/4 inch, to really flatten it. Because if your table's not flat, you can't build it flat. So this and this, I really made flat by bracing it underneath with tube steel that is very flat, and you can look at that stuff. That's this stuff here, that's open, and you can take that stuff and kind of match it up with a nice high quality level, a straight edge, and make sure things are really flat. It's very hard to stay flat when you put it all together because of the heat, but I'm learning how to do that. There's definitely ways by spot welding it first in the right spots, and then blasting it all together with the big welds. The whole logging winch workstation in of itself has been awesome. Adding a lot of storage to the tractor has been really key. It's amazing these things don't come with a place to put anything, but you know, I can have some of the chainsaw tools in here. Nice small container for my phone and a trauma kit there, another ammo can mounted. So 2 ammo cans mounted and another small thing for a phone, and accessible stuff is pretty minimal for my use anyway. The winch has been awesome. I can carry everything on it, not just the chain, but some wedges, the hatchet, and then I can wear this when needed, but I don't like to wear it most of the time. So yeah, a little update, guys. I'll probably show you about this subsoiler that I'm gonna build at some point here for also laying pipe in the ground. That's what this is gonna be here. This is gonna be to lay actually water line in the ground. It's gonna attach over here to the subsoiler unit that I'll build here. This is just gonna be where you insert the pipe. We're looking at the top here, that's the bottom. So for loosening, pre-planting, and then also installing water line. This stuff I'm grabbing all the time, daily. So as far as if you're still in setup, which most of us are for many years, as to what do you use all the time, what do you look for, junk sales, rummage sales, garage sales, you know, it's this kind of thing. This, by the way, holy crap, so useful. Adjustable crescent. It's like 50 tools. Now, it's not as good for, you know, something that's belligerent as a combo wrench. You could roll it a bit, but not nearly as much as a normal crescent because of the vice grip. Everything should be vice grip capable, right? Pretty much. I've fixed vice grips with vice grips. It's like just amazing. I mean, the vice grip metal clamps are so incredibly useful. Just what an invention.